Before revolution, before class struggle, before Karl Marx, there were dreamers, people who looked at the chaos of early industrial society and asked, what if we build something better, from scratch, not through conflict, not through inevitability, but through design, and this is the story of Utopian Socialism. The early 19th century was a time of upheaval. The Industrial Revolution transformed society. Factories replaced workshops, cities expanded rapidly, and wealth grew, but so did poverty. For many, life became harsh, unstable, and dehumanizing. The old order was collapsing, but a new one felt unjust. Into this uncertainty stepped a group of thinkers who refused to accept that this was the only possible world. Unlike later socialists, utopian thinkers did not begin with theory, they began with imagination. They asked, what would a just society look like? How would people live, work and relate to each other? And then they tried to build it. Charles Fourier believed society failed because it suppressed human passions. His solution? Reorganize society into communities called Pharenstales. Self-sufficient, cooperative units, organized around shared labor and mutual benefit, designed to align work with individual desires. He imagined a world where labor was attractive, not forced, social life was vibrant and collective, even the structure of daily life was reimagined. To modern ears, some of his ideas sound strange, but at the core was a radical belief: society could be engineered for happiness. Robert Owen was less theoretical and more practical. A factory owner, he transformed his mills in New Lanark into a social experiment. Reduced working hours, improved housing, and access to education. He believed environment shapes behavior. Change the conditions and you change society. Later he attempted to build entire cooperative communities, including New Harmony in the United States. These experiments struggled, but they revealed something important. Socialism could be lived, not just theorized. Saint-Simon focused less on small communities and more on society as a whole. He imagined a system led not by nobles or monarchs, but by scientists, engineers and industrialists, people who contributed productively. He believed society should be organized around efficiency, cooperation and social usefulness. In some ways he anticipated modern technocracy, a world where expertise replaces inherited power. Despite their differences, these thinkers shared key ideas. Cooperation over competition, they rejected the idea that society must be driven by rivalry. Social design, they believed society should be consciously organized. And moral vision, their socialism was ethical, not scientific. It was about justice, harmony and human flourishing. Later, Karl Marx would criticize these thinkers harshly. He called them utopian, not as praise but as dismissal. His argument: they lacked a theory of power, they ignored class conflict, they relied on goodwill rather than material forces. For Marx, their visions were beautiful but unrealistic. The autopsy begins here. Utopian socialism assumes that people will cooperate if given the right conditions, but it underestimates conflict, self-interest and power struggles. Design alone may not overcome these. Many utopian experiments worked briefly and locally, but scaling them to entire societies proved difficult. Questions emerged. Can small communities function in larger systems? Can ideal conditions be maintained over time? The transition from experiment to system remained unresolved. Ironically, designing a perfect society raises its own problem. Who does the designing? Utopian systems often rely on strong planners, defined structures, and prescribed ways of living. This can limit the very freedom they aim to create. And yet, to dismiss them entirely would be a mistake. They recognize something fundamental, that society is not fixed, that it can be reimagined. They introduced ideas that still resonate: cooperative living, worker welfare, and social responsibility. Many modern institutions, from co-ops to welfare systems, echo their influence. Utopian socialism represents a different approach. Not conflict but construction, not inevitability but possibility. It asks what kind of world do we want to build, before asking how do we get there. The utopians were not scientists of society, they were architects of possibility. Their visions may have been imperfect, even unrealistic, but they expanded the boundaries of what we could imagine. And that perhaps is their lasting contribution. In the next episode, Anarchism, Socialism Without the State, we move from designed communities to radical freedom, exploring how thinkers like Mikhail Bakunin and Peter Kropotkin imagined society with no state at all.